Okay, so today I'm going to be reviewing this, the 2026 Polestar 4 Dual Motor Performance. And well, the Polestar 4 Dual Motor is Polestar's fastest car ever with a 0 to 60 time of under 3.7 seconds. And it's also Polestar's first ever crossover-ish sedan type of thing. Polestar calls it a coupe, but it looks a lot like a crossover slash sedan. But anyways, this is probably one of the most high-tech Polestars ever made, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys everything you know about this car from the spec. The design of the interior is also seriously cool. The exterior, what the heck, and also the driving experience, so let's go. And first thing first, we have to talk about the specs of this car, because this car is powered by dual permanent magnet synchronous motors in each axle. So there's one in the front axle and one in the rear axle, and well, that helps you create over 544 horsepower and 506 pound-feet of torque. And those specs are just crazy because this is pretty much as powerful as a Tesla Model 3 Performance, and actually it's a little more powerful. I can't tell you guys exactly how much, but let me tell you guys it's under $60,000, at least the base price. But anyways, all that power goes through a single-speed automatic reduction gearbox via all four wheels, which is all-wheel drive, to help this car rocket to 0 to 60 in under 3.7 seconds, which is just crazy, and then to a top speed of a governed 124 miles an hour. And also, I'll show you guys that in kilowatts and newton meters as well for people in other countries. But anyways, those specs are just insane probably as the design, because this thing also looks seriously well. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first, more specs. And well, those specs are just crazy, but the most important thing is not the top speed or even the 0 to 60, it's the quarter mile time, because the quarter mile time is pretty much the king of whether your car is actually fast, let's say in a drag race, or just fast in 0 to 60. And well, the quarter mile of this car is, I could definitely say, fast, because this car is a quarter mile of 12 seconds flat, at least estimated. We haven't tested that yet, but estimated it's 12 seconds, which is also crazy fast for pretty much Polestar's first ever full-on performance production EV, so that is even crazier. And so now I've told you guys pretty much everything you know about this car, at least spec-wise. Now I need to tell you guys some more important thing, which is the range, because range is pretty much king, at least for electric cars, because if you don't have good range, then you can't really drive your car that far. First, I need to tell you guys the MPG before the range, because that is pretty much what equates into the range. And well, the MPG of this car is 80 mpge city, 90 mpge highway, and then 85 mpge combined. And the reason why I'm saying mpge is because that's mpg electric. So for electric cars, you say mpge, but then for regular cars, it's just mpg. And well, that helps you get a quite good between 280 to 300 miles of range, and well, that is also seriously good. But now you guys are probably wondering the million-dollar question: what is the price? Because this thing seems like one seriously good bang for the buck, but the price is actually even better than you'd expect for such wild performance and such crazy good looks. And well, before I tell you guys that, we need to dive into a little bit of the history of Polestar, because some people will think Polestar is just a new EV brand that was started in 2019. Well, it's actually been around much longer than that, because Polestar was originally started in 1996. From 1996 to 2009, a guy named Jan Flash Nilsson, well, that was his racing team originally in 1996. And well, he was pretty much the guy who started all this racing Volvos, like rally Volvos, stock car racing Volvos, and stuff like that. And then in 2005, he sold the company to a guy named Christian Dow, who turned it into the company Polestar Racing, which was pretty much the M Performance Series for Volvo. And well, originally it was just a racing team like it was in the 90s, but then in 2009, Polestar Racing agreed to become the official, I guess you could say, the BMW M Performance division, but for Volvo. And well, they pretty much made software and hardware tunes for Volvos to make them faster, more sporty, and just look better. And well, then, from 2010 to 2016, that was the era, I guess you could say, of the Volvo Performance Division. And well, the first thing was the Halo concept models, which were pretty much the high-performance sport models that Polestar created for Volvo. And the first one was called the Volvo S30 concept, and then you had the Volvo S60 Polestar concept, and both of them, the first one had over 400 horsepower, and the second one had over 580 horsepower, and those were pretty much extremely high-performance Volvo racing concept cars. And then in 2015, Volvo bought 100% holding in the Polestar name. And well, then the guy Christian Dahl, who originally actually bought Polestar, instead of Polestar Racing, he had to change the name of the company to Cyan Racing. And the reason why is because all their cars are pretty much, it's called the color cyan blue, which is another really interesting thing. But then the electric pivot, which happened from 2017 to the present, was when Geely and Volvo decided, why don't they both buy 50% of the Polestar company and create a fully electric-only car company called Polestar? And well, that's exactly what they did. And well, the first ever car was in 2019. It was called the Polestar 1, and it was fully carbon fiber, which is quite crazy. It was a limited production, fully carbon fiber. At least the body of the car was fully carbon fiber, and it had over 609 horsepower. Plus, it was a plug-in hybrid, and that was their only plug-in hybrid, at least to date. But then, in 2020, Polestar came out with the Polestar 2, which was the brand's first ever all-electric car, and now all they make is all-electric cars. But the Polestar 2 was pretty much a new revelation for the Polestar name, and then in 2024, Polestar revealed pretty much the third model, which was the Polestar 3, which actually I reviewed, and you could see a link to the video above. But the Polestar 3 was Polestar's first ever all-electric SUV. And well, that had over 517 horsepower. It was pretty much meant to be a direct competition to the BMW X3s and Porsche Macans of the world, and also Tesla Model Ys. But then, in 2025, Polestar revealed this, the Polestar 4, which was the brand's first ever crossover-ish car, because the original Polestar 2 was pretty much more of a sedan, but this is more of a crossover. And one of the most famous things about this car is that, well, it has no window, so keep watching, and you guys will see later how weird that is. It actually just has a screen instead of a mirror, and no window, just a camera. But anyways, that is also seriously interesting. And then, actually, in the future, in 2026, this year, Polestar might reveal the new Polestar 5, which is going to be their first ever all-electric saloon. It's like a full-on saloon, which pretty much means sedan, and that's going to compete against the Tesla Model S, which is also going to be quite crazy. It's going to have an 800-volt architecture and aluminum bonded structure, which is also going to be quite wild. But then, in 2027, or maybe later 2026, Polestar's coming out with the Polestar 6, which is going to be their fastest car in the world, which is even crazier. It's going to be pretty much a two-door coupe, and also it might come as a cabrio, and it could have over 800 horsepower and pretty much be a direct all-electric rival to the Porsche Cayman EV, which is actually coming out this year, and the Porsche 911. And well, that is going to be even more interesting. And actually, one interesting thing that I've noticed about Polestar is that their first model was named the Polestar 1, and their second one was named the Polestar 2, their third was named the Polestar 3, and etc. So everyone is pretty much going to be a number higher than the rest. And so that is also seriously interesting. And so I think I've told you guys pretty much everything you need to know about this car, at least spec-wise and range-wise. Now let me tell you guys the last thing, which is the price. Because this thing starts at $62,000. The regular Polestar 4, the base one with one motor, this is a two-motor or dual motor, well, that starts at $54,000. But this starts at $60,000 for this wild performance. And, well, with specs, it could go all the way up to $80,000 like the highest spec one, but there isn't really many options. I think the best color on this car is definitely the white. So we've talked about pretty much everything you need to know, at least spec-wise and history-wise, about the Polestar brand and this car. Now, let's check out the interior, the exterior, and test drive it and see if it's really that good. Okay, and first, let's talk about the front of this car, because it definitely looks really interesting, but also really Polestar-y. I don't know if you could explain it like that, but still, it looks really cool. And first, I want to talk about here, these headlights, because one signature thing about pretty much all Polestars is this double headlight design. Like, you have this, and you have this. It's like up and down pieces. And actually, I think it's supposed to be like this, because if you look at these, like these pieces, that's kind of what it looks like the edges almost, interestingly enough. But this is a little more rounded, because the Polestar 2, it definitely looks more like sharp, I guess you could say, and like a little more modern, even though they actually put it out of production in 2025, I believe, or 2024. But this, it looks more rounded and smooth and definitely aerodynamic, and you have your two nighttime running lights there, and you have your beautiful LED daytime running lights here, and you actually have pixel LED technology. And one thing I actually really love about Polestars is pretty much everything has a name. Like, you could read in the seats, on the sides of the car, even on the headlights. Like, it explains exactly what everything is, and I think that is really special. But anyways, then you also have position light unit, and I believe that's for the lights that can move back and forth, kind of like Porsche's in the original Citroen C6, I believe it was called, or maybe C3. But yeah, that is also really cool. And then you go up down here, and you have a thin little like lip spoiler type of thing coming across here. You have nice chrome trim also on the side of the car, and also you have this nice little air intake. And actually, for those who are wondering what this is for, this is pretty much like kind of self-driving, like LV2 self-driving, which you could take your hands off the steering wheel, but it's not full self-driving. So yeah, it's also really nice. Then you also have your nice little camera there, and that's actually, I like how it's integrated into the front. But one thing I really like about Polestars is that they're really like symmetrical, because literally, if you hop up here, look at this, there's even a little line separating from, like, there's a little line separating the windshield going exactly across those cameras. So this thing is like perfectly symmetrical, which is actually really cool. But then you also come to the side of this car, and really, I really like the way it looks, but I still can't understand if this is a coupe or not, because if you look at the side view, I don't really know if this is a coupe or an SUV or what, because just look at the way it's designed. It doesn't really look like an SUV or a sedan, but it looks like kind of like a combination of both. And then anyways, you come to the side, and you have this really nice big rim here, and I like how it's actually two colors. One thing also that I really like about Polestar is that they have, like, a lot of their things are like two-toned, like they have the two-tone seat belts and two-toned rims, and I think it just matches really well. And you have this nice little gold-colored air cap there, and these are actually really nice high-performance Brembo brakes. And one reason you could actually tell that Polestar is high performance is because they're high-performance models. Instead of having, like, let's say red or yellow brakes, they actually have gold brakes, interestingly enough. But yeah, that is also really cool. Then you come here, and this is also seriously strange. Like, look at this. I've never seen a weirder turn signal than that. But yeah, you have a nice little reflector there, and that's your actual turn signal right there. And it's actually kind of sticking out. But the reason why is because there's a camera right here, because Teslas actually have something similar, but a little higher up. But this is actually 2-in-1, which is also really cool. And then you also have your nice little mirror here, and this actually looks identical to the Volvo EX30. I reviewed that as well, and you could check that out in the links below. But anyways, you have this really nice, it's pretty small, but it's like a sideless mirror, and you have your nice little blinker light there, and then also multiple sensors, which I also find really cool. And then also, like I was saying earlier, hop down here, and you have more lettering. So you know the car is a Polestar 4, you know it has a 100 kilowatt hour or 400 kilowatt battery, which is also really nice. And so pretty much you'll know exactly what this car is if you read. And then you also have another interesting feature, which is this. Instead of having regular door handles, which are always out, all Polestars, actually just like all Teslas and all Aston Martins, have these strangely integrated door handles. And actually, the Mercedes EQE has handles exactly like this, and I'm actually a huge fan of how they go out. But if you just touch this button, they pop back out, or if you open a door. And then you come to the side of this car, and it's definitely really cool, this like slanting body, this crossover design as they call it, even though Polestar calls it a coupe, but still no one really could find out what it is. But this definitely is really strange, this rear window. Like, what the heck? This is definitely super weird. But anyways, you have this really strange looking rear light there, and actually because you don't have a rear window, you could make it more slanted, and so it won't matter as much. But instead of having a rear window that you could look out of via your mirror, well, you have these two nice little cameras, well, a camera and a sensor that is actually displayed on what should be your rear view mirror, but what's actually pretty much a miniature screen on the inside of your car. And so that is also really, really interesting, and I actually think it's really strange, but still really, really cool. And then you also have this nice little rear light coming across here as well, and I actually like how it kind of sticks out. Like, check that out, it sticks out probably like an inch, and I really actually like that because it's pretty much a full width light bar that you could see from any angle that you're driving. So that's also a really nice bit there. And then you also have your nice little Polestar badging there as well. You hop down here and you have even more cameras, which is also really, really cool. And Polestar 4 badging on this license plate. And yeah, so overall, the design is pretty simple, but still pretty interesting. I want to show you guys a couple more things before we check out the trunk and the interior. Because one, you have these. It's interesting little, it's sort of like black pieces that are kind of sticking out of the body of the car. And actually, for most, they'll seem like a useless thing. You'll be like, oh, that just sticked on there for design. But actually, the reason why is because if the side of the car is more square and straight, it's actually more aerodynamic. The head designer, Aston Martin, actually said that if we made the sides of the cars completely straight, it'd be more aerodynamic than the Aston Martin 765 LT is right now. That's why you see on the 765 LT, you have this really weird looking square bit of carbon fiber, and that's for some seriously good aerodynamics. But anyways, that's also nice. Then you have also your Polestar badging there. Like I told you guys, written everywhere is pretty much the name of the car. But yeah, that is also really cool. And so now you guys are probably wondering, how do you open this trunk up? Because there's no really way to see into the trunk, and it doesn't seem like there's any buttons. But actually integrated into the headlight, kind of, is a nice little button that you press, and voila, it pops open. And actually, you'd think this trunk would be not the most spacious, but actually I was surprised by how spacious this thing is. And you actually have a nice little storage area here, power outlet, 12 volt, and then on the other side, you actually have speakers. I don't know why like a box in the trunk would need to listen to music, but it's still pretty cool to have them back there. And you could actually pull this down, which is a cover to, let's say, put it over boxes. And also, you could open this up and you have more storage. This is probably, you guys probably won't even know what this is for, but this is actually for the charging cable, interestingly enough. So you can just hide your charging cable under there and then have all your flat space over here. And actually, you have the Polestar logo kind of embedded in the trunk, which you also found quite cool. You have really nice, like those two like triangular tips on there. But overall, this trunk is actually seriously nice. And so let's close it up. And it's actually nice how it has a beeping, almost like when a car's backing up, like a golf car, how it's backing up so you know. So yeah, that is also seriously nice. So I think we've checked out pretty much all of this wild exterior of this car. Now let's hop inside, and actually before we do that, we need to test drive this thing, so let's go. Okay, so now we're going to test drive the 2026 Polestar 4 dual motor, so let's hop inside. This one is actually going to be a black one. It's not going to be the exact same color, but still, let's see how wild this performance is. Okay, so let's go. And this is in the firm suspension mode, but still, it actually feels pretty soft. You could tell it's more like hard. And what about steering? It's harder. Yeah, because you could change, from firm to standard to light, and so I guess it accelerates also seriously quick. Yeah, and let's see from a stop. Okay, let's see. Oh dang, the G-force on this thing is crazy. And yeah, I don't know. I just will estimate how quick that was from 0 to 60 because we only hit 46 miles an hour, but that felt like 1 second or 2 seconds. That was crazy fast. Whoa. And how's the steering? Like,
very comfortable, very responsive. Overall, 9 out of 10.
yeah.
I would even give it 10 out of 10 on how responsive it is.
So is that good? And plus is in firm mode. Light mode probably feels more like just like a standard and like smooth type of driving. And you also have like hill descent mode, and let's say you're going up a hill, you actually have creep mode as well, which actually makes the car like go slowly but have more power. And stopping, and that's actually cool. You could actually see if it's in white, then you're braking, and if it's in orange, then you're accelerating. That's actually really cool. Whoa. Dang. Okay, that was crazy fast. What the heck? This thing is like seriously fast. This thing, like the acceleration is just, it feels faster than 3.7 seconds. Like, this thing is crazy. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Oh, what? Oh my gosh. Like, literally, my head felt like it was being pushed in. What the heck? That acceleration is like, it's probably the craziest. Like, it feels even like harder, I guess you could say, than the Audi S6 E-Tron that we reviewed. This thing is just pure crazy. And even on firm mode, like the suspension is really good. Noise cancellation, I'd say, is also seriously well. But since it's in firm mode, the bumps aren't as subtle, I guess you could say. But yeah, and let's like just put it in standard mode. And you can definitely tell like accelerating when it's in range mode that it doesn't have as much power, because it's actually in range mode. It puts more power to the front wheels, but it doesn't have altogether as much horsepower like right now, or at least before in performance mode. It has over 500 horsepower, but then in range mode it has more like 400. But it's mainly like probably like 70 to 30 front to rear wheel difference. Yeah.
I would give it a solid 9.3 on just overall experience. It's very pleasant, very responsive, ergonomic. And so far from all the EVs that we've tested, I would say this is my favorite. My favorite. I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, out of all the EVs we actually test driven and do, like, in-depth review into, I'd say this is probably my favorite, because, like, it feels seriously fast when it needs to be, but it's also extremely comfortable. And also, since it's Swedish made, like, just the way it's designed, it's so ergonomic and, like, symmetrical. It's really, really nice to be in. And also, the exterior also looks really cool. And also, you have this, which is really cool, a nice little mirror, a rear view mirror, and instead of having a regular one, it's actually just a screen. But yeah. And also, the range is actually, they say it's worse than it actually is, because at 100% you have more like 330 miles of range, but they say that it's more like 280, so I guess you have better range than expected. So yeah, I'd give this probably like 9.4. I'd definitely say this is a seriously good EV. And also, yeah, the seatbelts are another thing that are also really nice, really comfortable, and they're not like extreme like jerky or anything like that. Also, they're quite reactive. But yeah, so far, this car has definitely been a seriously good contender in the EV market. I don't know how good sales are so far, but if I bought an EV, I'd say it'd probably be this one so far, just because it's really ergonomic, it's quite luxurious, and also it's seriously fast. So we've checked out the driving experience. Now let's see the interior and see if it's just as wild. Okay, so now let's hop inside, and these doors, I really like the way they open, and they're seriously quiet. Okay, so we've checked out all of that wild exterior. Now let's check out this interior and see if it's just as cool. First, let's talk about this. So this might seem like a regular piece of trim on the car, but it's actually a speaker, interestingly enough. So you have an entire speaker coming all the way across the side of the car, and actually sneaks behind the screen a little bit, so you have a little more speaker there, and then it comes across here and goes all the way across to the driver's side. So you have seriously good speakers there. So yeah, that is also really cool. Then you have airbags there. These are also, I believe, speakers. So you have a whole bunch of speakers, and then you have Harman and Carlin speakers. I've never heard of them, but yeah, those are also really cool. And I love these custom speakers on this car. Those are just so cool, even though I can't play anything, but still, those speakers probably sound seriously good. And then you also have your nice ambient lighting coming across here. Beautiful purple ambient lighting, but I think I'll change it when we check out the touchscreen. But anyways, that ambient lighting is definitely cool. That really thin, like it's almost like a pin strip across the car. Then you also have this nice, I believe it's called suede or something like that. This nice material here as well, and you also have nice stitching there as well, which I also find really really nice. And it's also really really straight. So yeah, that is also really nice. Then you check out here, and you have, it feels like a really soft Alcantara, but I'm not sure exactly what the material is, but still, the material is also really, really nice. Then, how do you get out of this car? That's also probably what you guys are wondering, because it doesn't seem like there's any door handles, but, well, there is. You pull this up, and you open up the doors, and actually, that window comes up a little bit. But then you close it up, and, well, it's still really cool. I really love this feature, this nice little door handle, but I'm not sure if it's like electrical or if it's manual, but still, that's also really nice. Then you have also your window switches, and these windows are definitely really nice and quiet. Then you also have a little storage area for like a tiny candy bar, and actually it's slanted that way, like that way. It's slanted a little bit, probably like this much on that side. So that is also really strange. And actually, it could also be a nice little storage area for your phone if you put it in bottom side up, if you put it in top side up. So yeah, that's also really nice. And you have more of your nice square speakers, actually, interestingly enough, there. So yeah, that's also cool. And you have more ambient lighting, almost like it's coming from the speaker, but it's actually coming from under there. And actually, because you're probably wondering, also, is there a glove box? Well, there is, but you have to open it up a pretty strange way. But before we do that, you also have this nice little storage area, this nice good-sized storage area here as well. And overall, this interior, I really like how it's really like ergonomic. Like sitting in this thing, it just feels like right. I don't know really how to explain it, but it just feels so nice, like inside this thing. I can't even really explain it. But anyways, still, that is also quite nice. Then you also have your sun blockers here, and yeah, it definitely looks nice there as well. You have this nice little modern LED light there as well. Close that up, and this is also made of a nice, like, that same type of material here, but a little harder, so really, really cool. And actually, but we'll talk about that in a second, but wait a little later. But first, you also have some more speakers there as well. You have nice AC there as well. And actually, let's talk a little bit about these seats, because these seats are seriously, seriously nice. They're made of, I believe it's called, like, this stuff that looks like leather. It's not leather. It's actually naturally made, or it's actually like lab-grown leather. I believe it's made of like plants or something like that. But it feels like leather, which is really, really nice. And these seats, they don't hold you in place the best, because they're obviously not like racing car seats, but still, they hold you in place relatively well. And yeah, then let's try on these seatbelts. Another nice thing about performance models of Polestar is that these seatbelts, they're gold as well, just like the brakes, and actually the tiny little filler caps for air on the tires. This are gold as well. They look yellow, but these are actually gold looking in real life. So let's try this on. And well, okay, so these seatbelts are seriously nice. These are probably, like, I'd say probably Porsche level seatbelts, really. Yeah, these seatbelts are seriously, seriously good. I actually didn't expect that, but yeah, really nice seatbelt, surprisingly. And actually like this really nice click from this, like, heavier, I don't know why electric cars, a lot of them have this like heavier looking belt here, but maybe it's a new safety regulation. But the way it sounds when it clicks, it sounds also really, really nice. And yeah, so those are also really nice. The seats also, these almost remind me of kind of like these pieces right here. It almost looks like connecting pieces. It a little bit reminds me of the Lamborghini Gallardo. I'll show you guys what that looks like now, but it kind of looks like a mix between a Lamborghini Gallardo and like Tesla almost. Interestingly enough, these headrests, but I actually find them more comfortable than at least a Lamborghini Gallardo, because that is definitely not too comfortable, as hard as the seats are. But anyways, yeah, this is also really nice, these seats. Then we come to the center, and you have this. It's actually like Toyota Sienna style storage area. Like even Ferraris have this type of style area, but it's really nice. So you could have an upper area and then a bottom area. So You have a nice little area there. You could put your phone or something here, and then you could, I don't know what these are for, but you have also those little grips there. And yeah, so that is also a really, really nice thing. And actually, I was telling you guys about like two-toned interior and how Polestar does that, but yeah, check this out. You have this nice white interior, and then you have the beautiful gray leather stuff. I don't know, it's called leatherette, I believe. But yeah, that is also really, really cool. But you have this button here, and you can turn up the sound and stuff like that, and you can press this to turn songs off or turn them on, which is also really nice. So you have this nice little thing here, and it has this glass little top, and it's really simple looking, but still really nice. And then you also have this. It's a little phone charging area. At first, it just looks like a slightly deep area, but it actually goes in really quite deep, and that's for charging your phone without the case on. So that is also seriously nice. Then you also have nice little cup holders here as well, which also I really like. And if you want to make the car look even more simple, close it up, and you have a beautiful, simple, clean interior. But then open it up if you need to put your water bottles in. Yeah, so that is also really nice. Let's close it up. But anyways, yeah, so this center console definitely is seriously nice. Then you actually have this area which you have to press in down here and then lift up. Well, it's actually like strongly like magnetic almost, and you have USB-C charging plugs there, 2 of them. And overall, it's definitely really nice and deep, but not that wide, so you wouldn't be able to fit too much stuff in there, except for maybe a shoebox or something like that. But anyways, that still is really cool. Now that we've checked out pretty much, I guess you could say 50% of the interior so far, now let's talk about the screen, because the screen is really Volvo-ish, to tell the truth, because just check this out. So first, let's go to home, and it actually automatically goes to the screens here, which, let's see, are pretty quick. Let's pull all the way across. They're not Tesla level quick, but still, they're better than a lot of other cars. So yeah, they're pretty goodly quick. But anyways, yeah, so that is also really nice. Then if you press it again, you have songs that you could turn on or turn off. You have Apple CarPlay. You have favorite shortcuts, and actually favorite spelled O-U-R-I-T. I believe it's spelled O-R-I-T, but anyways, that's also interesting. Then you have this button here, which looks like the side headlight of the car. As you can see there, it looks the same, but yeah, I don't know, maybe. Okay, so you could adjust the car. So actually, look, bending lights, like I was telling you guys about. So if you turn the headlight, so if you turn the steering wheel, then the headlights actually bend, and you can turn that on. So yeah, that is also really nice. Then you have car finder, so it senses any cars around it. You have like a welcome sequence there, which I guess like senses if you're leaving or something, and makes the lights, like, here, I'll show you guys, go a certain way, so that if you're leaving or coming, it's like welcoming you. I don't know how that works, but still, that's also really cool. Then you have auto exterior lights. You have rear fog lights off, and you can turn it on, so your fog lights, and turn them off. And you have home safety lights as well, which is also really cool. And then you come over here, and you have locking, approach, unlock, and then locking audio, reduced alarm. So actually, you could have locking audio, which you say like lock the right side front door or something like that, and it automatically locks it. So that's also really cool. Then close windows when locking on, touch to unlock all doors, and yeah, it's also really cool. Then you could turn on the child lock and 2-step unlock, and yeah, I don't know what that is, but let's see. Okay, I guess you have to use your phone for 2-step unlock, but yeah, then you also go to mirrors, and you have tilt mirrors when reversing, which also sound cool. You have fold mirrors when locked, fold mirrors off. So actually, fold mirrors when off, it will automatically fold them when you're not driving, but then you could turn them back on, which is really cool. Then you could adjust the mirrors and defrost the mirrors, so you actually have a defroster in your mirrors, which is also really cool. Then you have wipers, wiper service position, auto wipers. So when they're in service, they'll go a certain way. Then when they sense rain, they'll go a certain way. So that is also nice. And then you have tailgate. Oh, okay, so instead of calling it a trunk, they call it a tailgate, which is also quite interesting. And yeah, so overall that's also really nice. Then come back here and you have shortcuts, and actually let me show you guys how to open this thing, because you probably won't even know. So you press that button right there and it pops open, which is seriously cool, to tell the truth. And yeah, then you press it again. It doesn't do anything, it just reopens those same locks, but you have to close it manually and open it automatically. So I'm just wondering, let's say your car dies, or it's turned off, how do you get your belongings in here? Question mark. But anyways, then you also have these little things here, these little screws, like plastic screws there as well, in a perfect line. So yeah, it's also quite interesting. Then you have your little light, and overall space definitely isn't the best in there, but still, it's usable. And yeah, then you also have shortcuts. You have this. What is this? Okay, I don't know what that means, but then you also have one pedal driving, I believe that is, and you could add more stuff that you like. I guess not, but I guess you could add more stuff that you like there as well. And then you have ambience. Oh, so that's really cool. If you go to ambience, I guess you could see. Oh, so I guess okay, you could turn it up, or you could turn it down. So ambient light will become brighter or darker. Let's turn it all the way up. And what the heck is this? What the heck? Why did it show a Polestar flying through space? Flying through space. That makes no sense. But anyways, you could change it here. You could change it to Mars, and it'll change the color. Let's see. Change it to Earth. Turn blue. Venus. It'll turn pink. Mercury. White. Sun. Orange. Mars. And then you have Saturn, which is lighter grayish. And you have Jupiter, which is more purple. And you have Uranus, which is more blue. And then Neptune, which is even more blue. So I think we'll put it to the sun, because orange looks the best in this sporty interior with the seats. But yeah, that is actually really, really cool. I've never seen anything like that before. So I guess you can't change the colors like directly, but you could change them just based off of the colors. But yeah, then you have lights, maximum interior illumination. Let's see, if you turn that on, I guess it turns on all the lights in the interior, not many, but still. It turns on some of them, like in the back seats as well, and over there, and over there. So yeah, that is also really cool. Then you can turn it off, and you have quartzy lights, which turn on or off depending on if you're opening the car, closing the car. So if you open it up, then a light will turn on right there, which is really cool. It's just like greet you, I guess. And yeah, then you have screens. You have display brightness there. That'll probably be best. And you have driver display and black light control brightness. Oh, I guess so that changes that right there. The driver display, it changes based on this. I could turn it up. I could turn it down. So it depends if I'm driving in the nighttime or daytime. It's better. So yeah, then you also have rear seat screens, which is also really interesting. I don't know if they have them in this car, but still, that's also really cool. Then you have glove box, you have wireless, and then you just have adjust and seats. You could do different things with your seats. You have lumbar, cushion. Oh, okay, that's really cool. So the way you adjust your seats, I won't be able to get a full view of this, but let's try to get it in. So the way you adjust your seats, okay, so you could adjust it based off of that. Let's put them a little more forward, but still, that is also seriously cool. Then you have driver preference 1, and you have position 2, and then you have position 3. But yeah, 1 is more close up, but still, that is also really cool. Then you can also choose the seats. You have lumbar. Okay, let's see. Oh shit, I guess you could adjust. So I guess you could adjust. Oh yeah, okay, so there's a little like bar here that you can pull forward or back or up and down, and you also have cushion. Let's see. Yeah, so it pushes this thing right here more up, or it pushes a piece more down. So yeah, it's also really cool. What's that creaking? They're kind of strange, but still, yeah, it's quite nice to have this, except for the weird creaking. But yeah, then you also have settings, you have network, profile, systems. You also have those different settings. Then you have system right there as well. you have privacy, you have Google as well, and I guess you could look stuff up and there's ads and stuff, but yeah, so let's go back. You have exterior like we checked out, you have audio, and you could decide where the sound's coming from. You have charge, how much percentage, assist, drive, and shortcuts. So I don't know what creep is, maybe when you're going uphill, but then there's that hill descent control, and there's that, I'm not sure what that is, electronic stability, okay. So one pedal driving, you could also turn off or on, suspension feel, firm, steering feel. Firm, so firm is pretty much into performance, and then power delivery if you put it into range mode or performance mode. So see, it shows it being like a bigger line and a smaller line depending on if it's in performance or range mode. So that's also really nice. That's also really nice, and you also have shortcuts for everything, speed limit and everything like that. But yeah, so that's also really nice. Then you also have apps, Google Chrome. Let's see. I guess so. You have all types of different things. You have Chrome, you have Game Snacks, Performance, Tubi, Ambience, Log Collector. That looks pretty old, that logo. Strange. But anyways, then you also have Tidal, Trip Meter, USB Media Player, and everything. Let's actually check out YouTube to see. Maybe you have to like sign into it or something, but let's see if that works.
6.5 hours later. One eternity later. Tomorrow for sure.
So I guess YouTube never loaded, but anyways, that is still cool, all these cool little apps. And then you have quick controls, you have home, and you can turn up the AC and everything like that. So that's pretty much it for that really cool screen. Now, let's talk about this, which is the even cooler rear view mirror. So you could adjust it like that, and I believe it's touchscreen. Let's see. You can touch buttons. You have the brightness. You can turn it up, down. Oh, so I guess it's like already loaded the screen, so it just looks like there's a car behind me and it's messed up. But actually, it's already loaded, because if you look behind me, well, there's no rearview mirror, but you could see there's a gold Polestar back there. It's kind of hard to get a shot of, but if you look out the window, you could see there's that Polestar hiding behind there. So it just shows you what it sees behind you. And actually, let me show you guys what it looks like with me behind it. But yeah, so that's what it looks like when you see the rearview mirror. And you can actually switch it back to normal mirror, but it's 100% useless. But yeah, you switch it back, and you have your beautiful screen. So you could also press that button, and you have different settings. Let's see. Yeah, so you have all those different settings. I don't know half of them mean, but still, that's really cool. Then you also have a nice little camera there. You have Connect, you have SOS. Turn on that light, or both of the lights. And so let's turn that one on and press both of them, and they both pop on at the exact same time. So yeah, that is also really, really cool. Then you have Connect, and you have, well, it looks like USB-C chargers, but I don't know why they'd be sticking out at the top of your car. Quite strange, but still quite cool. And you actually have a fully glass roof as well, which is also really, really nice. And then you also have a nice little steering wheel here, and I like the way it has a flat bottom, kind of like original Audis. And yeah, it looks really, really nice. You have nice Polestar badging there. 312 miles of range. Okay, so I guess 280 miles was a lie. With 90% battery, you have 312 miles of range. That's actually really, really cool. I never knew that. So that means there's more range than they say. So you have 312 miles of range. I'll definitely add that in. Then you also have the top view of your car. It's actually nice that it's white, because like a lot of automakers, they'll make it like blue or black or something like that, even though it's not the same color. So that's nice that they pay attention to detail. Then you have park, and those are actually your shifters. You have different reverse, neutral, drive, and park. So I guess you just press it in. That's why I showed this little arrow. You press it in, and you go into park. So yeah, that's also really cool. Then you also have your different speaking modes and stuff like that. So yeah, that is really, really cool. And also, if you're driving, you'll actually see like the speed you're going and stuff. Right above there's a projector right here. you'll see like the speed you're going, the amount of range left, and everything like that. So that is also seriously cool. So I think we've checked out pretty much all of these wild front seats. Now let's hop in the back and see if they're just as cool. Okay, so now we're in the back of this wild car, and first, let's talk about what's in front of me. You have more writing, tailored knit, made for zero waste, 100% RPT. I don't know what that means, RPET, interesting, but yeah, then also a nice alloy trim around the seat and two-tone trim, yet again, black and gray, which also looks really, really nice. Then you also have this nice AC here. You have more of this really cool speaker that actually spans all the way across the back of this car. It's actually quite strange seeing like no rear window. The only car that I've seen with no rear window, or at least the rear window is blocked out, was the Resvani Vengeance that I reviewed, and you could actually check that out on my YouTube channel. But anyways, that was really strange, and this is even stranger because you have actually speakers where you have a regular rear window. But yeah, so that's also really cool. You have a nice little storage area for books or something like that. Nice little handle. You also have your nice window and storage area. You have Harman and Carbon speakers there as well. And actually, interestingly enough, you have a nice little screen here as well, which has all types of things. You have off, and you can turn on the AC on and off. You have display intensity as well. There's a nice little like beeper or whatever. So yeah, it's also really nice, and you can turn on the different lights. Via here. So you just press that, and the light should come on. Yep. So that is also really, really cool. Then there's some more ACs here as well, and overall these back seats are quite comfortable. So like this is regular height for like me. This is comfortable place, and yeah, I have great amount of leg room, great amount of knee room, and overall the seats are really comfortable. The seat belts, of course, are also really nice, except they might get stuck kind of like behind this, weirdly enough. So yeah, but overall it's really nice. You have great amount of headroom, and if you don't have good headroom, just sit right here and you have a whole bunch of extra headroom. And yeah, without the hat on, it's actually even better. But yeah, then you also have nice glass roof here, and overall it's quite comfy. Then you also have two USB-C chargers there, and actually before we hop in the center, let me show you guys this. You could, I guess it's not good. And actually now let's hop in the center, and definitely it's not as comfortable as the other seats as usual. Most cars don't have as comfortable centers, even Rolls-Royce Cullinans and Rolls-Royce Spectres, to tell the truth. But let's see, the seat belts are actually a little less good. They get a little more stuck, but still, the front seat and the side seat belts are better and more comfortable overall to seat. But this is definitely more harder and not as great, but still, it's really nice. You have a nice little headrest here. You still have a great amount of headroom, and overall, it's definitely really nice. So I think we've checked out pretty much all of this interior and exterior. Now let's hop out and near the end of our video. And actually, just before we do that, I want to tell you guys just one more thing. You also have this nice little ambient lighting here, and you have a nice little rear window because there's this thing right here, but it kind of blocks your view. And so, let's see, you can't really see out. You want to look behind you, and you have that nice little window there. So now let's hop out and near the end of our video. Okay, so I hope you guys like this video. Also, check out my X and Instagram where I post some really cool car news and car photography. And remember to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Xaaron Reviews, and I'll see you guys next time.